face and start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares on the best part of my day.
The goods from the woods.
Hot damn!
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
I'm Carter Glascock.
And Sam Harder's at work. Pat's got a baby, so it's just the two of us today, but we're going to make it if we try, because today we have a very, very special guest. He is the pride of Atlanta, Georgia. He is one of the funniest comics in L.A., and we're so happy to have him on the show for the first time, our friend
Adam Newman.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me.
Of course, yeah.
I'm excited to talk about what we are gonna talk about.
Yeah. So, with this show, typically when we have a guest, I always tell people like, hey, bring in a couple things you're interested in and we'll pick one and we'll roll. Although sometimes people send us things that they're like, hey, you should talk about this. This is weird. Today, there was a perfect confluence of something that was sent to us. And then when I asked Adam what he wanted to talk about, he was like, oh, we could chat about cover bands.
Yeah.
Because you're in
What exactly was sent to you?
Okay, so let's just get into it. So
Because we were talking and you were like, it was something you're into, pop culture related. You know that I used to play in bands. And, I've been working out some stand-up material about the cover bands I used to be in, because I just find that to be a fascinating world. But
Sure.
I came in with a few ideas, but I thought that one might be a fun one.
This was wild that you suggested that, because all right, so this is a listener who goes by the name on Twitter Anarchist Bill Clinton.
Okay.
His handle is at adult_goth.
Anarchist Bill Clinton plays saxophone without a reed.
Yeah, he just kazoos into it. So he sent us this thing that I was completely unaware of, which is an album that came out in 1965, and the album is called "The Surfsiders Sing the Beach Boys Songbook."
Okay.
So this is from it's a record that came out only in England, although it was recorded in America. And it's, back in those days in the 60s, there was a big money to be made in what they call drugstore albums. So basically record companies would have the rights to different songs. So let's say you were, EMI and you had access
ELO.
to ELO, yeah.
Sure.
So, you're this record label. LFO, yes. You're the light funky ones.
Summer girls.
But you've got access to Can't Buy Me Love. But in order to release that, you've got to pay the Beatles a bunch of money. But you own the rights to the song.
Okay.
So you would just bring in four idiots and be like, yeah, just cut it and then sell it for like nothing at a drugstore. Uh-huh. This practice eventually morphed into, in the late 70s, K-Tel, like where they would take the big compilations that, now we had a whole episode that we did. We talked about compilation records like Jock Jams, like Freedom Rock, stuff like that. Right. But that is the genesis of it, was basically getting
now
just these...
that's what I call music 74.
Exactly.
Sure.
But the genesis of that was getting all of these artists and basically just for a cut rate, hiring studio musicians to cut their records and then sell it for nothing.
Yeah, you see a lot of those at like used record stores.
Yeah, and it's always weird, like you'll see like, Pete Best, the Beatles, and you're like, well, but he quit the band 2 months in. What do you mean? But they would get, something like that.
I don't know all the details of it, but immediately I think that sounds like an amazing gig. If I just got, I'm sure you don't get just like your studio day rate or whatever. You're like, come on in, we're playing a bunch of Offspring tunes today. And I'm like, sweet, few power chords, I got this.
Yeah,
made $300 and what a day.
Yeah, you just come in and they're like, hey, do you sound like the guy? Oh no, well, we don't actually care, because this record, as I said, Surfsiders.
Sorry, we asked that question originally. If you sounded like the guy, it didn't matter.
Turns out, well, at least for Allegro records, it doesn't matter. I mean, maybe there are people with higher principles releasing these sorts of records. With people who they're actually trying to find, like, all right, let's actually find a guy that sounds like John Lennon. In this case, this is the Surfsiders Sing the Beach Boys Songbook.
Do you think there were like elitist like music snobs back then too, who were like, oh, you listen to the Beatles still? Like, you got to hear the Rite Aid version of it. Like that one's so much better.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, dude. It just sounds better.
It just sounds better, dude. Like they cared more about the tone of the guitar amp, and they used like an old ribbon mic, and like it's so much warmer. You're like, oh my god.
Surficidal tendencies.
That just sounds like a fun like tribute album, like
Yeah.
Suicidal Tendencies in the
Oh, like surf
in the
versions of
style
suicidal tendencies? Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Well, I'm always walking down on the same old street. Da, 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 da. You know, like fucking great. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Dick Dale covered Suicidal Tendencies.
Well, so I actually would be willing to bet there are people out there for reasons that are going to become apparent in just a second. There are people out there who probably say this is better than the real Beach Boys, just like weird troll shitheads, because singing vocals. This is 1965. Singing vocals on 2 of the songs on this is a pre-Velvet Underground Lou Reed.
Really?
Wow.
So Lou Reed
Was he living in New York?
So he was a session guy. He was a guitar player. He was hanging around the studios. This company was like, "Hey, we're cutting. Who plays guitar?" And it sounds like they literally just opened the door and were like, "Hey, what are you doing right now? Get in there!" Because
Hey, you scrappy young poet-looking kid.
Yeah.
Looks like you got your whole life ahead of you.
Does it sound like Lou Reed?
oh, we're about to hear it.
Just talking about
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the well-known Beach Boys tune, but this is like you've never heard it before. And I should add that in this, for some reason, and I have to imagine this is the record company's owner's son or something. For some reason, there is way too much saxophone on all of this. Like, I don't think the Beach Boys have a damn sax, really, but on this, sax flourishes on everything. This is Lou Reed singing Little Deuce Coupe.
She's my little deuce scoop. You don't know what I got. Well, I'm not bragging, it's a go, but I've got the fastest set of wheels.
Yeah. A little bit.
Remember when Weird Al would do like polka medleys on his albums?
So it sounds like, yeah.
Here you go.
What I got.
You don't know what I got.
There he is.
Just a little dude. You can kind of hear it.
I know what
Well, you
got.
don't know what I've got.
I know what you got. Heroin.
Yeah.
Sweet James.
This is back when he was known as Lil Louie Reed.
Yeah, you know, we lost Lou just about 4 years ago.
Yeah,
And-
Metallica killed him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, it's a shame. Shout out to to Hobo Eddie.
You have a copy of Lulu?
So one of our listeners, we talked about Lulu. We named this the official worst album of all time, Lou Reed and Metallica's Lulu.
It's very funny, yeah.
One of our listeners, Hobo Eddie up there, shout out to Hobo Eddie in Washington, sent us a copy of Lulu for some reason.
What is this?
Oh, man.
Oh,
So
this is the last Lou Reed anything was an album that he made with Metallica called Lulu.
And to describe it, it sounds like a senile old man like doing like freeform poetry over like boogie rock, like metal boogie rock. It sounds fucking ridiculous.
But yeah, that was Little Deuce Coupe. This one is a little bit more obviously Lou Reed. This is the other one that he does on this record. This is Surfin'.
I woke up this morning.
He's just kind of doing his Lou Reed thing. He's just talking. I just love the saxophone, the seemingly drunk barbershop quartet singing over this whole thing.
It's not bad, yeah.
They're it sounds like an a cappella group, and then they were like, let's just throw some instruments over it.
Yeah, oh, totally. Yeah, it was like, all right, you boys, you have 2 hours to cut this whole record. Figure it out. Here's the sheet music, boys.
And they're just supposed to be like impulse buys at the drugstore.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm surfing side to side.
It sounds like a Lou Reed like B-side or something.
Yeah, it's outstanding. But yeah, so shout out to anarchist Bill Clinton for sending us that. That's a treasure.
Almost as good as Lulu.
It's almost as good.
Can you play just a snippet of the
Oh,
song from
I will.
Lulu?
Without
I
hesitation.
know it's kind of off topic, but it's just so bad.
Well, no. So I mean, without hesitation, I will play the first 5 seconds of Brandenburg Gate because it's.
These aren't covers. These are original.
These are originals.
Oh,
Lou Reed Metallica collaboration.
This couldn't,
in the studio.
This could not be a cover of anything
This is a
except
super
Lou
group.
Reed.
We should form a band and cover this song.
Well, so I want everybody to just listen to the first sentence of the first line.
I would cut my legs and tits off when I think of Boris Karloff.
There we go. That's the first. Welcome to the album, Lulu.
I'm not gonna lie, the first 20 seconds of the album sounds a lot heavier on the Lou Reed side than the Metallica.
Yeah. You got to get into like where it gets like the boogie metal parts. That shit is so funny.
This is 2 discs. Why does anyone need 2 discs of this? I have no idea, but anyway. I actually saw you kind of working a bit of the cover band material at our show Friday night, and you mentioned the hairstyle that you used to have. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I don't think I talked about that in the set.
Oh, did you not, or is that a different part of this?
I have talked about it before. Are you talking about the dreadlocks?
I'm talking about your dreadlocks, my friend.
Oh, nice.
Former dreadlocks.
Yeah,
man.
I was that white kid with dreadlocks aged 15 to 20. I'm completely embarrassed about it. I'm willing to talk about it. I talk about it on stage, but like I talk about it to be like, it was a very, it was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
What was the time period?
I was 15 years old, would have been 97 to basically 2001. I think 2002. I think I cut it off my sophomore year at college.
Okay.
So like the new metal heyday?
Dude, yes. I mean, everyone who asks why, it's just very simply when I was 15, I thought Korn was the coolest thing in the world. And then I kind of outgrew that, but then I was I had a bunch of friends who were into like Fish and stuff, and I was like, well, this still
transition
seamlessly. And then I kind of grew out of that, and then I was like, well, it's just such a commitment to grow to have dreadlocks. It was so much work that I had them at that point, so I held on to them a little longer than I should have.
What else involved in keeping up? Keeping up
my
dreads?
God! Well, there were the early days of the internet. There were 2 websites for all your white boy dreadlock needs.
Whoa.
The first one was
hold on, this is mind blowing.
There was some GeoCity shit, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Brick background, yellow Comic Sans, spinning skulls.
Yeah. Dreadheadhq.com was the first one.
Oh man, you got to get on the ones and twos and see if that's
I have no idea if they're still up there. That one was that's where I bought my my dreadlock needs your beeswaxes,
your mange,
your nonsense, because you could still clean up, but you couldn't use like a lot of the things that were the good smelling things or conditioners and things would mess up your dreads. So it was a lot of like unscented shampoos and things like that.
Oh wow,
that's where I would buy a lot of that stuff. And then it's still up,
dude, is it?
See if the other one is too. The other website, the other one for all your dreadlock needs was naughtyboy.com. That's KNOTTY, which I did not get the double meaning of that until way after. And that's where I would download my Windows Media Player tutorials on like how to palm roll and all your other. Is that up too?
Oh, they're up.
They've like updated to like Instagram
my
and shit
God.
too.
Yeah.
Wow, incredible dreadlocks in weeks, not years.
Wow.
That would have changed everything for me.
Yeah, you can find us on Twitter at the Goods Pod. We'll link naughtyboy.com and
They're
Dreadhead.
still up. But I went to those sites. There were like tutorials on how to do them. You could buy whatever products you needed and stuff. And yeah, those were the sites I used.
So how long did it take you to grow these dreadlocks out?
They literally 2 or 3 years before they looked like anything. Before that, it just looked like I twisted them up and put them in a. I literally wore the colors and everything. A Rasta hat and stuff.
You had the sway hat.
I have a picture. Yeah. I have a picture. I went and saw after high school. Me and some friends drove. We literally we followed Radiohead around on the Kid A Amnesiac tour. Ooh. We followed them around, and I think at Red Rocks in Colorado we saw them, and the Beta Band was the opening band. I love the Beta Band.
Fuck
too.
yeah,
they were the drummer from Radiohead, Phil Selway, right? Just chilling in the crowd. And so I went and took a picture with him, and he was a nice guy. And I was like, I have this picture with me, the drummer from Radiohead, but I can't go post it. I'm literally wearing this Rasta hat, big old plugs in my ears. I had my ears all stretched out and stuff.
Whoa, no shit.
So, there was a change. So it was between like Spine Shank and Radiohead. I mean, you like you were kind of like delving into.
I gotta say
that kind of stuff while you were still entrenched in new metal, or
yeah, the Venn diagram
do you
here.
Remember? I don't know about how old are you guys?
I'm 33,
32.
Okay, I'm 36. We're similar enough.
Yeah.
So do you remember? Like we're still of the CD generation.
Totally.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
My like first. Speaking of like, did you like new metal and did you like my first Literally, I think it was a bar mitzvah. My parents let me take my bar mitzvah money, and most of it went away for like savings or college later on or whatever.
Yeah,
but they were like, the one big thing I was allowed to buy was like a 5-disc CD changer. And I remember my disc changer, my shuffles would be like Jimi Hendrix, Korn, Janet Jackson. Hootie and the Blowfish, like it was the most insane mix of things ever because it was we were the era of BMG and Columbia House,
where
like 10 for the price of one and stuff. And so like anything I even heard of, I would buy. And then it would be like Jeff Foxworthy stand-up album in there. It was the strangest mix of music. And so I really truly liked everything. And then by the time I was 15, I started learning to play guitar.
Right.
And the Korn with the dreadlocks and the 7 strings and the heavy stuff. It was just
Ibanez.
And I moved I had an Ibanez RG whatever 7-string at the time
man.
too.
Yeah.
And I moved from New Hampshire to Georgia, so I was in a very like rebellious phase listening to angry music, and I got really into that heavy Korn, Deftones, Limp Bizkit era stuff back then. And
God, that shit
I'd say
was huge.
Of those bands you just mentioned,
Deftones turned out to be awesome.
Still great.
Dude, I saw Tool like a few weeks ago at Staples Center, and it was incredible. I was a closet Tool fan for so long because you don't want people to think of you as one of those fans. Like the Tool fans have a specific look,
kind of booger eating incel sort of thing.
but Korn, but Tool and Deftones and some of the other more, I still like a lot of the heavy technical music and stuff like that.
Oh, me too, man.
I was going to say,
what do you think of the new Tool album?
I think it's incredible.
It's great,
I love
right?
the new Tool album.
Dude, Numa, that song's great.
It's incredible. I think the new Tool album is unreal. But then I also saw Built to Spill last night, which is basically a singer-songwriter fronted. I still like all sorts of music, but it is hard to get into something like I can't listen to Korn anymore.
Well, I gotta say, Korn is coming back.
Really?
I mean,
have you, Rivers, listened to the new Korn album?
I haven't listened to any of their new stuff.
They were still releasing.
I haven't listened to any of their new stuff. They are still releasing albums, but just in the past year, just overheard strange conversations of normal seeming people just being like, yeah, Korn was the shit. And it's one of those things where everybody who was 12 or whatever in 1999,
it's just the passage of time because that's what everyone grew up with now.
Is now our age. Yeah. It's this sort of phenomenon where like things that you maybe had a strong opinion about when you were young, all of it just gets steamrolled and flattened into just your past. So Britney Spears and Korn are the same thing.
Well, okay, to go back to these like compilation albums, those were soundtracks were a lot bigger back then too. I mean, obviously it's fun to get like a score or something now, but like, the
horror movie soundtracks.
Oh yeah,
they had all those new metal bands on them.
They did. The Crow, I believe, had
Queen of the Damned. Yeah,
Queen of the Damned had Korn.
Scream soundtracks.
So I heard Blind, which is like the first song on their first album, which was like their first thing that got big.
You ready?
Yes, exactly. That was on the X Games soundtrack.
Yeah.
That album had Korn. It had the Toadies. It got me into the Toadies. It had Primus on there, and then it had like Sepultura, and it had it had a lot of weird. It had a lot of weird, heavy stuff, but Toadies ended up being one of my favorite bands ever. And I also saw Toadies on the 20th anniversary of Rubberneck, and it was one. It was so fun.
Well, similarly, that Tony Hawk 2 soundtrack when that came out, that was Goldfinger, Rage Against the Machine, Primus.
Oh, I was super into Rage Against the Machine. I used to take my boombox outside and play. I listen to Rage Against the Machine while I played basketball.
We got to go to Phoenix, man. I'm going to drop the money and drive to Phoenix to go see them.
Yeah, I saw that they're. I don't know if it's not funny. Most of the bands I go see, like Built to Spill last night, and the Toadies, and even Tool. Like a lot of the people who go see them are not 20-year-olds or 15-year-olds and stuff. They're
our age.
Like literally all three of the shows I just mentioned, I had room around me to like. I wasn't like dancing at any of these shows, but like no one was like on me. I'm like I have a drink and I have a like everyone's being polite. Like it's amazing. Well, I love being this age and listening and going to see the bands I liked when I was a kid.
I do just want to get a black eye at a show one time. I think Rage is where I'm gonna have to.
The way you do that now is if you vape heroin at a Billie Eilish show. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Can you vape heroin now?
I mean, if there's a will, there's a way.
So when did you start playing in bands and stuff like that?
I lived in New Hampshire and then moved to Atlanta when I was like 15. And so when I was about 14, like I think it was for my 15th birthday, a couple months before I turned 15, I got like a pawn shop acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
And then quickly that turned into like a cheap, $100 electric guitar.
Yep.
And then I had some friends at that time who played in a band that needed a bass player. And so I learned the really easy bass. We basically got together and would play. We were basically a cover band too, but we played like Foo Fighters, Nirvana, Silverchair.
Ooh,
we played Blind by Korn. We played like a couple Local H songs, if you remember Local H.
Oh, yeah.
We played like all those, and then we wrote like a couple. Then we started writing original songs after that, and we were 15, so we would play like our school functions.
Oh, hell yeah! Wow.
Fundraiser at our school for whatever.
Sell it out to the man.
Yeah.
So we played those, and then I almost immediately, like within a few months, moved to Georgia and was a new kid, which was horrible because I loved playing sports and I couldn't. I moved from like a small high school to a huge high school, and so I couldn't make any of the teams anymor. I moved from New England to Georgia, so school was way easier. Like,
yeah.
I didn't,
Of course.
I didn't do any homework. I didn't have to. I got A's. It was so easy to do well, and so I had an insane amount of free time and no friends yet, and so I basically just sat in my room and learned I just learned how to play guitar. I just went on the internet and got tabs for everything I wanted to learn, and I got a lot better at guitar. And then I started playing in I met some other, you meet the other kids in school who play in bands. And I was in original bands then. We only played original, and then we'd play a couple covers. And we'd play like Paranoid Android. We'd play like Radiohead covers and Smashing Pumpkins covers and stuff like that. But mostly original. And then when I went to college, I just wanted to be it was all original bands. And then a drummer I was friends with, his brother was also a drummer and was in this cover band. And we just found out how much money the cover bands made and how many people would come to their shows and stuff like that.
Where did you go to? Did you go to school in Athens?
University of Georgia in Athens.
Yeah, that's right. So Athens, if you're listening and you don't know, it's a huge music town, and it was always a point of kind of jealousy for me living in Auburn, because Auburn's a similarly sized town and also has a college that sort of refreshes its population every few years and stuff like that. But we could never get a music scene going, and
strange.
We'd go see things in Athens. I'm just like, God damn it, this is the coolest city.
Here, yeah.
It could suck. Well, I mean, the difference is that Athens has a bajillion bars. So,
oh my God, yeah.
That's kind of the difference. Their downtown surface area is much larger, but the student population is the same. Like everything about it, Athens was like the funnest city to go see music in, but also the most frustrating. You're like, why can't we have like a quarter of this coolness?
Should have transferred, dude. Athens was really great. It was such a fun place to base a band out of. Strategically, it was a great place to base your band out of for touring, because you have the whole East Coast, or then you can go through like Texas, Louisiana, that whole thing. It was super cheap
Florida.
to live there. Yep.
Which is its own separate tour.
We would basically do. We would do like a 2-week tour of Florida. We do like Ocala and Gainesville and all the way down to like Fort Myers, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we learned how much they made in cover bands, and so me and we had a rule. Me and all the bands, we were all friends with each other. All the original bands, we tour together and do our thing.
Yeah.
And so a few of us got together and we were like, let's just we can play like football weekends at Wild Wings or whatever.
Yeah.
And we formed like kind of like a mid-90s cover band. We were playing like Weezer and Pixies and Harvey Danger and Gin Blossoms and Verve Pipe, like literally all the big songs that came out. And we were playing these bars and they were like, you guys are good. What's your secret? Or, not what's your secret. No one asked me.
No, what's your
secret? What's your secret?
Hey, keep working at it, Sluggo.
No.
Like
They're like, you guys are so much better than the other cover bands in here. We're like, well, we're not like career cover band. We're in real bands and we're good musicians, and we all learned how to play this when we were kids. And so we got together and we would just like rip it up, and all our friends thought it was the most fun thing ever. Like this is the thing, because all of us were in metal bands. And
I
stuff.
love
so, like our girlfriends all of a sudden could come and bring all their girlfriends, and they would come and dance. We play frat parties. We had like it was amazing.
I gotta say, one of my favorite just things in any artistic pursuit is someone who sets out to do something ironic and then it becomes the most successful thing they've ever done.
It's exactly what happened. And then because it was taken off so much, and because we were actually making money doing it, we made a rule where like we're only allowed to do stay in the cover band if our real bands are active. You have to be in a you have to be in an original band writing music. You can't just this isn't about whatever. And so that was fun, and we did it for a couple years, and it was so fun. We won like what
was the name of the band?
We were called Just These Dudes.
Okay.
We also were all comedy fans back then, and there was we got really into the Stella shorts.
Ooh, yeah.
The Michael Ian Black, Michael Showalter, and David Wayne from the State, you know?
Yeah.
And so we had their DVD, and there was a sketch in there where someone asks like who they are or something, and Michael Showalter just goes, "We're just these dudes trying to get our swerve on," and we thought it was the funniest thing ever. So we named the cover band Just These Dudes, and we did it for a while, and it was great. And then that same guy's brother. They formed a Sublime tribute band, and they were just
killing. I'm sure. Yeah.
Banking.
Wait, which one
it.
was it?
Wow.
What were they?
Was
called?
it Badfish?
Yeah, maybe it was Badfish.
Yeah, I saw them in Auburn a couple of times.
This was the Southeast, of course. They were touring up there. I think it was Badfish.
They play the porch at Bodega, my bar, yeah.
Dude, they made so much money and they played so many shows, and it was crazy. And so we were like, well, what cover band would we want to do? And I was like, I learned how to play guitar basically to like Smashing Pumpkins and Radiohead and whatever else. We didn't want to do a Radiohead one. And but we formed a Smashing Pumpkins tribute band. And what happened was we got together. We another combination of us musicians. We got together, and my roommate at the time was a cute blonde girl who was classically trained on the piano. And so I got together with her, and she learned the bass. I mean, this very easy bass line, so I taught her the bass lines. And so we had it. We had the look. I was the only one who didn't have the look because.
Does anyone go into a band wanting to play bass, or it just seems like, with the exception of like Bootsy Collins and Les Claypool, every bass story is like, well, I play guitar, but then we just need a bass player. So
that was my strategy. Was that like?
Is that right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was just like I knew that no one wants to play bass, and everyone needs a bass player. So that's why I started learning how to play.
I think I would enjoy playing. I played bass in a pop punk band when I was in college.
Oh yeah,
I mean, we did like some of like the small side stages at Warped Tours and stuff, and it was very fun. And it was a band, but again, it was a band I wasn't like serious about. But I think it would be. I think just being a chill bass player would be fun. I think I would enjoy it.
You can get into so many different types of bands playing bass.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think I would enjoy it. But so we started the Smashing Pumpkins tribute band, and we we all looked the part enough. I was the only one who didn't really look the part because I played guitar without singing, so I was the James E.
Ha, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we were like, all right, well, we have a set. So let's make this is back when MySpace was popular, especially for musicians. It was great. I was like, so let's make a MySpace page.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wrote Smashing Pumpkins cover band as the main thing. And then do you remember in the little quotes you could put like your little thing? And it said Squishing Squashes there.
Squishing Squashes.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say. We named ourselves Squishing Squashes. But put it there. But we had Smashing Pumpkins cover band as like the main title. And I just like made the page and went to sleep. And I woke up and we had 40,000 friend requests.
Jesus.
Because it said Smashing Pumpkins in the title. And then we started getting messages immediately to perform at
because the Pumpkins were broken up at that point, so they weren't on MySpace.
Swan was happening at that
time. Oh man.
We're getting emails from like 99X and like the local like Atlanta radio stations being like, can you play our beer festival? Can you play whatever? It's gonna be like 2,500 people and we'll pay you $1,000 and whatever and free drinks. And we were like, our first show was a beer festival for like 2,500 people. And like it was unreal. It was unreal. And so we're like, this is totally the way to do it. And so we're doing that and playing football weekends at Georgia, and it was great. And
you were just playing.
Didn't have to have a job in college. Just Smashing Pumpkins songs.
Just Smashing Pumpkins songs. Were you?
Now, I would assume it's got to be. You got to have 1979 in there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
got to have Cherub Rock.
We played Cherub Rock. Yeah.
Bullet, Butterfly Wings.
Butterfly Wings.
Zero.
Yeah.
Tonight.
We didn't play Tonight.
That's kind of a really heavily orchestrated.
Yeah, we tried to put it together, and we were like, it didn't sound right without the all the extra stuff.
Yeah.
We played Here Is No Why, which was one of my favorite things.
Ooh.
We played Today. We played Silverfuck. Like we got.
Oh, that was so fun.
We played Geek USA. Like we did more of the heavy ones. We liked the heavy ones. We played a few things off Gish. The heaviest one we played was Fuck You, an Ode to No One. The live version of that was really, really heavy. And our drummer was disgusting. Like he was such a great drummer. So.
Oh yeah.
And
if you're gonna do like the Smashing Pumpkins tribute band, you got to have the Jimmy Chamberlain. You know.
Yeah.
What was I guess like the maybe the craziest show or like the worst show that you guys had to do?
We did our first show in Athens. I remember we just expected everyone to be like really excited about it, and it was very lightly attended.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I just remember that one being. And I remember like we went all out. Like there was a. Like I went all out, like I bought like this little toy laser gun that I saw that he used in like on a DVD, and I dressed in all like pajamas and stuff that like he would wear on some tours, and I just felt like I was like in this big costume and no one came, and I just felt really humiliated. But there wasn't nothing was too crazy at that. The other cover band, the mid-90s one, was crazy. We would play like frat parties in these like fucking like frat bars where I mean I remember this couple slow dancing and then they fell off a pool table while we were playing the Freshman by the Verve Pipe. And I was like, what is... We would have like we would have like 30 people get on stage with us, like singing in the mics. And we were like, let's just let it happen, whatever.
They were slow dancing on the pool table.
Yeah.
And you guys were, for the life of me. And they fell And they fell off.
Yeah, they fell off the pool table.
Were they okay?
I don't know.
It's a big drunk college weekend.
Did
you know
you
what I mean?
see this from the stage? Like you're playing guitar and you're just watching
There were
this?
so many times in the cover band, I just had to turn around because me and the bass player would just look at each other and laugh so much. We got to a point where we would fuck with our singer. Me and the bass player and the drummer would fuck with our singer, and we would do a thing. We would play like the Darkness, I believe in a thing called and there's like the breakdown in the middle, which is basically like it would just break down.
Big
to, like,
claps. Yeah.
But we would cut out like 4 measures before it when like the singer would be like the really really high notes.
Yeah.
We would just like pimp them out to have to like do it with everything cut out. And
Yeah,
it's like silly stuff like that. There was a dude in a cover band that we used to have another cover band open for us, which was really funny. They played just totally different songs. They were a little more nu metally, but the guy he asked if we picked a few songs just because we thought they were funny. Like we would play like Everlong, and we love playing Everlong with the Foo Fighters.
Sure.
We would play Stars by Hum, and it was
I love that band.
Yeah, and it was like real heavy, like fun stuff to play. We played Where's My Mind by the Pixies. That was really fun to play. We picked a few songs that we thought were funny. Like at the time, like Yellow Card got big, so like, that was like we were like, we're playing a new one. We play like Yellow.
If I could find you now, like that song.
Yeah. I learned the violin part on my guitar. There was
somebody pointed out, I think it was Kyle Clark, because we talked about Yellow Card. We did an episode where we just covered the entire year 2005.
I can't believe you covered Yellow Card.
Well, because we had to mention it because I just like thought it was funny that there's a violin in Ocean Avenue.
That's
and
it.
Kyle pointed out, and now I can't unhear this. He's like, if you listen to that song, listen to how low the violin is mixed in that song. Like they have it turned down all the way.
Yeah, that's really funny.
They're embarrassed by
Here's
that guy.
a new mix with a violin. No, but so we played one that we thought was funny, and I just love this song because of the memories I have from the cover band. But we thought it was funny. We played Cumbersome by Seven Mary 3.
Oh, wow. Deep cut there.
And there was the singer from the band that would like open for us sometimes was like, I love that song. Let me sing it with you guys. And we gave him the microphone and let him sing it one time. And like, I mean, it was like Fred Durst was on stage with us, just like working the room and like owning that room in like the weirdest, like backwards baseball hat kind of way you've ever seen. And so he used to come to all of our shows and we would just let him sing Seven Mary 3 while we were in the background just trying not to laugh, but he worked the room, and it was so fun.
Did he get a cut of the gate?
No cut of the gate.
No
he
cut
did
of
it
the
for
gate.
the love of the game.
That's what you do it for.
And merch sales.
Yeah,
like a free drink or something.
I would love to have had. We should have made T-shirts or something. You can't sell. Oh, that was the funniest thing that I ever heard at the Smashing Pumpkin show is we started playing a bunch of shows and people were into it, and so they would come see us a bunch. And after one of the Smashing Pumpkin shows, a drunk guy just cornered me and he was like, "You guys are my favorite band." And I just was like, "Dude, if you like us, there's another band you really got to check out."
Where do you guys get the inspiration to write these songs?
Well, we sit around and watch the live DVD. We did.
You guys have a live DVD? Like he's not getting the picture.
There was a Smashing Pumpkins live DVD at the time, and we just we would just like smoke weed and watch it, and we're like, we're like, this is gonna be so fun, and it was so fun.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, it's very easy to kind of give crap to people in cover bands and like, what are you doing and stuff, but like to be. and I could not. We saw so many cover bands in Athens, like the Guns N' Roses tribute bands,
Yeah.
and the Zeppelin tribute bands.
Zoso?
Yeah, Zoso
Yeah,
and Appetite for Destruction stuff. And you're like, Slippery When Wet, the Bon Jovi cover band, and we're like, the guy looks like, did he get plastic surgery to look like the guy? And like to dedicate your life to just emulating something else, to me is like, what are you doing? But just to do it as a side thing and make some extra money and have fun with your friends, like it was so fun.
I mean, there's a kind of a difference in discipline too between a cover band and a tribute band.
Huge difference.
Where like there's like cover band is what I consider like most bar bands to be. Where like we play Matchbox 20 and the Rolling Stones and
at this point in my life
Prince
too,
or whatever.
Not trying to be a professional touring musician. It's like, oh, you play guitar. We should let's learn a couple these songs and we'll get together and we'll play them and then we'll play around. Like because
it's fun.
It's totally fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a cover band. The tribute band is, which sounds like what you guys were in, it's such a much more commitment.
I would say we were more tribute band than cover band because we were just doing Smash Pumpkins, but we weren't like buying crazy wardrobe.
No.
Like we were just like we got the girl bass player. We're gonna play the songs as best we can. Yeah. We're not like
bald cap.
No, this is a Siamese Dream era haircut.
Oh, okay,
gotcha.
That's when it wasn't even he had long hair. He was just like kind
short,
of nice
short little clean cut. Today video, Ice Cream Truck Man.
Yeah. Well, out here, I mean, there's a fucking bajillion of them. If you go out to, any of those places out in the valley, they have posters next to the bathroom of like all the bands that play there. Like it's always those shitty places that you end up doing stand up where no one's listening, and then you go take a piss and you're like, oh, the Iron Maidens are coming here, the all female Iron Maiden tribute band, shit like that.
Is that the distinction? Like, is a cover band does songs by multiple bands. A tribute band does one band.
You can also
That's what I'm sort of saying.
There was a big the Dave Matthews cover band used to come all the time. The Dave Matthews cover band.
Dude,
my cousin used to manage them.
Those motherfuckers.
They could have been a tribute band though. They were called cover band, but they were spot on.
Dude, those motherfuckers would sell out any bar in Auburn. Like
that made my cousin's career managing them. Absolutely, yeah.
Dude, it was such an easy thing too. You're just like, dude, the Dave Matthews cover band. There it is. Boom.
And it was. I used to work at the Georgia Theater in Athens, this little theater, and not bit little theater. It probably was 600 or 800 people, or 600 people probably.
Yeah.
And they would come through and it would be sold out. And you look in the crowd and you're like, these people think they're at a fucking Dave Matthews concert. They're having just as much fun. Yeah. They're just drinking and making out and dancing with each other. They were having a blast.
Yeah.
And honestly, and for the bands too.
Yeah.
They're traveling around, playing music they like with their friends,
making a shitload of money,
making a ton of money. They're getting laid. It's like,
hey man,
it's a fun life until you go like, who am I? Until you're like, what am I doing? Like, what am I contributing? I don't know. You are contributing. You are providing a fun service. People very much enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
Just for me, there's a creative part of it that I need to also. Maybe they are. Maybe they're in real bands at home. Can you imagine? But if that band's like, let's throw an original in here, the crowd is just like, they could not be more bored.
Oh yeah, they were like this is the classic smoke
my
break.
cover band though, we didn't have any original songs. We did have our theme song that we would open with.
Oh, what's that?
We were just like, I wish I could remember how it went. We stole chord. It was like chords from. It was like the bridge from a Green Day song and the verse from like Semisonic's closing time or something. And it was like we're just these dudes, it was like whatever it was. But I can't remember the exact thing. But.
This was for these dudes, not for the Smashing Pumpkins one. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever do like a medley? Like we were talking about Weird Al's medleys earlier, but did you ever do like a quick little wrap up, like three snippets of 3 songs in one?
I don't think we did. I think if we would have thought of that, we would have really had a good time with that, though. No, we never did that, though. Neither band did that.
It can get kind of silly.
It's also great if you can't.
I did one of those.
A part's too hard to play. You can be like, well, we'll just do the easy part in the medley.
It's just fun when if you're as a guitar player when you figure out that like certain songs are the exact same chord progression and they're always always like weird.
Yes.
So like I found out that "Marry Me" by the Drive-By Truckers is the same chord progression as "When You Were Mine" by Prince. So you can actually like play them both. And the other one was "She Caught the Katy" by Taj Mahal is the same chord progression as "Roses Are Free" by Ween.
That's cool.
So, yeah, you can. So it's always like really weird, disparate things that you can mix together.
If we were to do a medley, the one that I know are the same chords, and it's kind of a long chord progression, but it's the Basket Case by Green Day is the same chord progression as Sucked Out by Superdrag.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh man.
Yeah.
The first band I was in, we were like a hardcore band, and like
What were they called?
No Price Paid was the name of the band.
All right.
It was about getting free shit.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
I want to go around and say bands we've been in. Band names are great.
Oh yeah.
Band names.
That was we were called No Price Paid. We were all in high school. Most of us were fat, and but it was crazy watching like these like 4 fat high school kids go like lose it on like Minor Threat style, which we were not straight edge at all. We drank like fish, but the first time we tried to cover a song,
We ate nothing but burgers.
oh yeah, our songs were like a minute long, if that, like 45 seconds to a minute long, and then like one time we tried to do like a cover medley, so we did like it was a cover medley of it was Sleep's Dragonaut. It was
Yeah.
it was Black Sabbath's Supernaut, and then it was Thin Lizzy Emerald.
Great.
It was like all in one little thing, but we just did like the opening riffs of each one.
Yeah.
And our singer did not bother to learn any of the lyrics, so he would just yell "smoke weed" over all of it. And
That's great.
Even with that, our entire set was like 10 minutes long. So when we played with that set, we would play our set twice in a row just to make it fill out any amount of time.
Yeah.
What were the other bands you were in?
Oh, geez, let's see. I was in I was in No Price Paid. I was in a band called Them Natives. I was in a band called Korova.
What was Them Natives?
Them Natives was like a freak folk band.
Okay, all right.
Central Fires, The Secret Midnight Band.
I gotta say, I love you, buddy. These are terrible band names.
Oh no, they're great. They're great. Let's see, it was another one. Husband Stitch was the last band. I was in.
That's
You also gotta remember
Husband Stitch is a good name. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's a bad name, and everybody. And I have nothing to back. Nothing to. No reason why. I love a bad band name though because like everyone had to agree on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it's just it stressed everyone out, like trying to figure out a name. So she's like, let's just go with that. Like, we'll pick like something out, some lyric.
Make it cool. Like it'll be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the guy who came up with Husband Stitch, we were all just kind of like happy though. Like he figured out some sort of name because we were just like, we're good. This project.
The mid-90s cover band once played a show at this like kind of frat bar that we normally played at, but I think it was just like the day after finals week or whatever. It was just like bad timing, and so there's like no one there, and so we took our free pitchers of booze. We used to get at this bar free pitchers of beer, or this bar had their own energy drink on tap called Sex. It was like it was like a
This
Red
was the
Bull.
early 2000s, you say?
It was
Nothing pumps you up like sex.
yeah, it was basically Red Bull, but it was called Sex. And
Welcome to Athens, y'all.
We would get pictures of Sex and vodka, is what it was called.
Yes.
So we were pounding those and whatever, and so we basically just got really drunk, and then on stage just kind of gotten us like basically all faced each other, like all on the inside. So we're not even looking out at the crowd because there's no crowd. There's literally nobody there. And so we finish a song. At some point we go into like we're just fucking around. We go into a song and it ends, and we just hear this like clapping and cheering, and we're like, what? Like no one was here. We looked up and they had a Golden Tee like video game.
Yeah,
and that was on like it was just playing through like on demo mode, and someone like hit like a hole in one or something, and it's going like yeah, woo, and it was one of the saddest moments.
Oh,
we've ever had in our life.
So it wasn't even you guys. It was someone playing Golden Tee.
Yeah, it was Golden Tee on demo mode. There wasn't anybody there.
Oh! It was the actual machine.
Yeah, it was a machine.
Oh, I thought you were saying like fucking some Aloysius backwoods motherfuckers hit a hole.
I want to meet the person who just drinks Sex, the energy drink, like without alcohol. In it. They're just like, it's good.
Sex on the rocks.
Yeah.
That's how I get through my afternoon slump. A little bit of sex.
I like it better than Red Bull. It's just a little hornier. You know what I mean?
He just keeps going down to the bar just to get sex.
Just a sex. Neat.
There was a sex gun. I never thought of that. That's fun.
Did you ever play that song?
Sex, neat, 2 fingers.
One olive.
Yeah.
Sex Gun is a Kiss cover band somewhere.
Yeah.
You gotta be. One time, them natives, we went to Memphis to play this show, and we'd play a lot of shows with like just people just fucking around on like a tape machine.
In a freak folk band?
Yeah. Who'd have thunk it? And so we're playing in this person's living room and in Memphis, and this guy's just like kind of just playing this formless noise music or whatever, and then everyone's just kind of like vibing out, and I'm like, everyone here's on drugs, and like, like halfway into this guy's noise set, the door gets kicked down. SWAT team comes in with shotguns, puts shotguns in everyone's face, and they're like, everyone get the fuck out of the house right now. And we're like, oh my God, man. And like, the guy goes upstairs, he grabs my cable box that I was carrying my cables in, and he puts what he found in this guy who lived there's house, like a triple felony amount of ecstasy. The guy was selling ecstasy out of the house, and we were like, so we're not going to get to play? And he's like, no, you guys have to leave. And we ended up
But this is stop one on, what's the name of the band?
Stop one on our tour, Them Natives.
This is stop one on Them Natives World Tour, man.
Oh, man. Yeah. And so we ended up going to someone's house. We stayed in their garage. The person who lived in the house was not informed that we were staying there. They came into the garage with flashlights, and we all woke up and screamed at each other. Like, I don't know. They thought we were breaking in. We thought they were breaking in. It was a whole thing.
The part I don't miss is the I mean, I guess I miss as for the stories or whatever, but like so many sleeping in garages and sleeping on kitchen floors and fighting over the like one couch and yes, I'm just too old for that shit now. And I love being a comedian and them putting you in clubs, putting you in hotel rooms.
That's a lot. That's a lot better than sleeping on floors.
The first time in the band when it was in Husband, we were just like, look, we're adults. Like, let's get a hotel. You know what I mean? Like, let's pool our resources and get a fucking hotel.
Even if it's fucking, I mean, even if it's 4 of you pulling together and just so now you have a shower and a bathroom. Jesus.
Yeah, like we can brush our teeth.
Yeah,
like let's do that. But yeah, it's as you get older too, it's just crashing on someone's couch.
My back hurts.
Yeah, my back. It's like, what am I drunk?
How did Squishing Squashes end?
That ended very like I wanted to move to New York. One of the guys was in Atlanta, and the other people were in Athens. Someone went to med school. It was like it ended very, very naturally. It wasn't. Although there's nothing fun. I never dealt with this, but
I was gonna say.
But can you? I've never dealt with like a fighting breakup in a cover band.
I want a full Kiss cover band with the makeup to get in like a screaming like fuck
like,
you.
What are you fighting about? Creative control? Like song, right? Like you're fighting over like your fucking costumes. You're just phoning it in with the makeup. Or like what I got called out by a buddy in the cover band that like a buddy who wasn't in the mid-90s cover band. He was like, dude, I know you're just turning down the volume during solos and like just wanking around. I'm like, yeah, I didn't learn the solo to a few songs. I mean, I didn't learn the note for note solos to a few. Some I did, and some I was like, I don't care to sit down and figure out note for note these like the darkness solo right now. I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
it seems kind of hard. I'm sure I could. I probably could have figured it out, but it was hard.
Is that
like who's really listening for that? Who's like being like, hey, you nailed it note for note of the solo. You just solo on that part.
Yeah,
that's the part where the solo goes.
I want I want a sorority girl to think I'm fun. We used to play Lit.
Ooh, Oh, there you go. Yeah, My Own Worst Enemy.
Yeah, My Own Worst Enemy. Yeah. We all
That's
jump
one.
around and stuff. We
Yeah.
play
Oh.
we would usually do one Weezer song a set, but we would mix it up. We'd play either Say It Ain't So or we'd play My Name is Jonas.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say,
We played a fun one. Everyone would always sing along is we would play El Escort Show from Pinkerton.
Oh yeah,
We'd get
yeah.
everybody singing along with that
Goddamn,
one.
you half Japanese girls.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. I have a few friends that play in those types of bands and stuff like that, and it was always very weird that they would always cater, to the audience. So they would play shit they wanted to play.
Yeah.
But I mean, where I lived, if you were playing a bar in Auburn, Alabama, motherfucker, you were playing Wagon Wheel by Old Crow Medicine Show.
Oh yeah, that was not that wasn't our style.
You are fucking even if your whole shit is playing like Stevie Wonder covers, motherfucker, you're playing Wagon Wheel.
Yeah, and Don't Stop Believing.
Don't Stop Believing. Maybe not even that one, but like definitely Wagon Wheel. And the other one that I always used to hear was Come Pick Me Up by the recently canceled Ryan Adams. Those two fucking songs all the goddamn time. Every band, no matter what they were playing. So it was always just very funny to hear. Like I've talked about on this show before, there was this band that used to hang out in my hometown. They were called Kenny and the Keys or Kenny on the Keys. And it was this guy, Kenny, and he would turn every song, no matter what the song was, he would remove all minor chords and change them to major.
Oh, that's so
and
funny.
turn every song into a shitty Stevie Wonder song. So like, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Like every fucking song was signed, sealed, delivered now. And it was awful. And I would sit there and it would make me insane. Like I would just leave the bar.
I love someone taking generous liberties with this cover song.
Sometimes I would get to the bar and if Kenny and the Keys was there, I'd fucking turn around and leave. I would go the fuck home because it
We
killed
had
me.
an idea for a cover band back in college that I would actually love to even do now. I still think it's funny, but we didn't have the balls to do it. We wanted to play a cover song and just play like one chord or one note, like half a step off or something. Like we wanted to play, like if you're going to play like Smells Like Teen Spirit, it would be like, like it would just be like one step up. And we wanted to like call the band like Close Enough or something like that. You know? I think it'd be funny to do that. If someone did it.
Yeah, it was Diamond Dallas Page's entrance theme in WCW in 1999.
What?
Jesus.
Did someone just like make a sound alike?
This is Mouth of the South Jimmy Hart all day long.
Is that just close enough to not be sued?
Wow.
Bing bong instead of bong bang?
Yeah.
Yep. And then you just hear Diamond Dallas Page in the back going, too cool.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, so as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, DDP's music.
I love it in theory. I love them because I think they're funny, but they're never good. I hate the. I don't know if I'm saying I love or hate. I honestly don't, but I'm fascinated by sound alike so you don't get sued because like every time you do a special or whatever, they're like, what do you want? And you're like, they tease you to think you're going to be able to pick it. You're like, I want Iron Man, and they're like, all right, and then they're like, here's what we found, and you're like, this is
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know who
like a
does?
MIDI track of it.
Bill Hicks has something that
Right,
sounds
before
like
Revelation. Sounds like Jimi Hendrix.
yeah, and you're like, oh, you know exactly what happened. You know that they were like, we can't use Voodoo Child, but this sounds just like it, and it just makes, and it sounds good. It's if Voodoo Child didn't exist, you'd be like, this is pretty good. It's a bluesy, heavy thing. This is
Sure.
great.
Yeah.
But you know what it is, and it's just so lame.
Well,
It's got like some 90s ass like production on
Yeah,
it too.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and he comes out in the cowboy hat and it just I mean it's a brilliant special.
Well, he comes
but-
out of the giant monolith from 2001.
Right, yeah.
With the cowboy hat
And,
and
like,
fire and shit.
Yeah, and like the off-work dads playing in the garage playing the Jimi Hendrix
Yeah.
facsimile.
I hope it's like his name's like Timmy Kendricks or something.
Yeah. Jimi Kendricks Lamar.
Yeah.
What?
Dude, cover band names and improv group names are interchangeable.
But like many kids growing up on a steady diet of westerns, I always wanted to be the cowboy hero. That lone voice in the wilderness, fighting corruption and evil wherever I found it, and standing for freedom, truth, and justice. And in my heart of hearts, I still track the remnants of that dream wherever I go, in my never-ending ride into the setting sun.
like we were in the cover band, and then we learned that the tribute bands made more. So then the other guitar player from my original band with his buddies was like, we're going to do a tribute band. We're in the South. We're in Georgia. So let's do let's get in with the frats and do cover. They formed a Leonard Skinner cover band. They're amazing musicians, and they found this great piano player, and he could play the Freebird solo and whatever. The mistake they made, they had to adjust because they weren't getting booked enough, but they named themselves Plane Crash. You have to like be careful. You have to be careful about your sense of humor, like what's actually going to work and like who's actually buying it. Yeah. But then they changed it to whatever. They changed it to the name of like Simple Man or something like that.
Yeah. That's like calling a Nirvana cover band like Shotgun Toe or something shit like that. You know what I mean?
Courtney did it or something like that. But they started getting these gigs at frats, but they did a thing where, you know, as every concert in the world, someone yells Freebird. Yeah. And so their joke was, if somebody yells Freebird, we're going to stop what we're doing and we're going to play Freebird. And so they would do it. Any song, they would play Freebird. But the other thing was, if they were playing Freebird,
they do the full 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
But they would. But if while during Freebird someone yelled Freebird, they would start again. And so they would bring a friend as a plant. They would just bring someone to do it. And so always right before they're about to get into like the speed it up and stuff, they'll go, Freebird, and they'd be like, they just start again.
Oh my god, that's funny. Fucking funny, man.
Oh my god. Oh shit.
I love that. Yeah, like it's sonic torture. It's a good way to do it. Like, I had a friend who there was one of those internet what do you call it? Internet jukeboxes.
Yeah.
And he claims that there's this bar by his house, and that some guy would come in there and drop $100 on playing Purple Rain by Prince every day, and it played it so much that the bar got shut down.
Oh, we used to do shit like that when they had the jukebox at the Waffle House. The one we would do would be this. For some reason, the Waffle House on South College Street, right near Exit 51 in Auburn, had we would always play the Cha-Cha Slide. But we'd play we put in I guess $2 worth of quarters, which was good for 12 plays. So we would do like Cha-Cha Slide, and then we would put one courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue on there, and then more Cha-Cha Slide. And then I heard that John Mulaney bit.
Oh, the Salt and Pepper Diner bit.
About the fucking What's New Pussycat. And I was like, God damn it, that's hilarious. And we did that, except for Cha-Cha Slide.
Yeah.
Give them a little bit of hope that it's not going to be the Cha-Cha Slide again.
Yeah. Oh, that bit's great. There's like, at first you're like, this is a very long song. And then you're like, I love that.
What's New Pussycat? Oh, shit. And you did the David Letterman show. What did they play when you walked out?
So that one, I don't know if they pay for the rights or what, but that one they'll actually do it. That was fun. I knew going in. I knew for a long time that you get to pick your intro song. Yeah. So before they even asked me, I was like, they gave me the date on the phone, and I was like, can I get to pick my song, right? And he was like, yeah, we'll get to that. Like, whenever. And I was like, I already know. And I was like, if you could ask, and I asked for the Jurassic Park theme song. And on the phone, the booker.
That's hilarious.
The booker was like, I'll ask or whatever. And then he called me back, and he was like, Paul Shaver, he goes, Paul said it's a bold choice, but they're happy to do it.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the very funny Adam Newman.
And I even tweeted a thank you Adam later and stuff, and he was like, it was our pleasure. When I got to Letterman and I walked in, they were rehearsing it, and I was like, and it sounded incredible.
Oh,
it was so
of course.
Cool.
Wow.
That's fucking great. Man.
That is so cool. Holy shit.
When I go on the road now and they go, what kind of music do you want to get brought out on? I always get brought out to John Tesh's Round Ball Rock.
Now there's
the old NBA on NBC playoff music.
Yeah.
You ever seen the video of that?
Hell yeah, of him at Red Rocks? Dude,
yeah.
It's fucking
It shows
amazing.
him he's when he comes up with the idea, he put it on he left a message to himself, and so he brings the old answering machine and plays the message to himself. It's John Tesh doing it. It's really
I mentioned on the show before, I unwittingly saw John Tesh live as a child. I was at the Magic Kingdom at Christmas, and we were walking to the haunted castle, or the haunted mansion, and we walked past Cinderella's castle, and I very specifically remember like turning to my mom and being like, "Hey, it's the guy from Entertainment Tonight."
Oh my god!
And he was like up there like playing the piano and singing, and she was like, And it's like, well, the Haunted Mansion's gonna close soon, so we gotta go. I'm like, all right, and I just kept walking. But I did
celebrity sighting though, big deal.
I did see John Tesh jamming.
I'll give you one guess to who my first concert was at age 14.
Age 14. Okay, so what year is that? You're 36 now. What is that?
97, I believe it
97, first concert. Maybe.
Let's say if let's go back to what we've been talking about today.
Yeah, cover bands. Is it Smashing Pumpkins?
It was the Korn Family Values Tour.
Oh, wow.
Korn, I believe Orgy and Head PE opened.
Yeah.
Was Limp Bizkit in the mix?
Not
they weren't
yet.
there. No, this was early Family Values,
This
I
is
believe.
97.
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit didn't come on until the next
when
year.
he came out with those bagpipes and that kilt.
Oh, wow. Head PE. What was the other one he said?
Orgy.
Orgy.
I don't know. They were known for covering
Blue Monday.
Yeah.
Well, they had their own. They had Stitches. That was their own original.
I owned Candy Ass. I was a fan.
Candy Ass.
I owned Vapor Transmission, the second record that
Dear
no one
Lord.
listened to. Yeah.
Some of our oldies are not going to age well.
No.
No, it doesn't matter. They're going to come back anyway. They're going to play them, even if they don't
That's
age
what's
well.
interesting about that 90s cover band. And what's interesting, like when I listen to like rock radio now that still plays that stuff, is like I now have a better understanding of why my parents were always into the oldie stations, because there's a nostalgia that comes up. It'll be like if the Verve Pipe came on, I would never be like, that was my favorite song back then. But I'd be like, like Gin Blossoms comes on, Offspring comes on, Wallflowers comes on. I'm like, this was just I would come home and this would be on MTV, and it was playing at the whatever music would be playing in the not supermarket, but like it was like the soundtrack to back then, and it makes me feel okay now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't pick it apart anymore. I'm not like Wallflowers.
Well, that's what I was talking about at the beginning, right? Like after time flattens out everything. So at a certain point, like I said at the beginning, Korn and Britney Spears are the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like at the time,
that's funny.
You couldn't fucking say that, but now we're sitting here, 20 years on.
It's the same thing as like Debbie Gibson and Quiet Riot is the same thing.
It's the same goddamn to our ear. It's like, oh, that Talking Heads.
They're time capsules.
Talking Heads and Poison both sound like the 80s, even though one is artistically and objectively better.
Yeah.
They both still sound like the fucking 80s.
Sure.
And now it's like, something like Britney Spears and Korn are kind of the same thing once you get far enough away from it. So even now, it's what kills me about, like, I mean, you mentioned Billie Eilish at the beginning, right? Like, there's like a certain,
trying to think of the most zeitgeisty thing.
like sect of people who are just like, that is like awful and it's dog shit. And I'm like, yeah, it's like whispery ass lyrics about violence with a big ass hook. That's the fucking Pixies. Like that's literally, that's why I like it. I'm like, because at least,
well, it's like the influence of the Pixies filtered into teen pop, which is like it's finally come to that point. Yeah.
So I'm desperately fighting off the urge to be an old man about anything, but I do hit that wall.
Well, like I just
admittedly
one day we're gonna be showing our grandkids are gonna be like, this song is called Lightning Crashes.
Yeah.
And it was about
Adam, where can people find you on the internet, sir?
Oh man, Instagram, Adam D. Newman, and I've been posting tons of stand-up clips and stuff like that over there. I got all the others. Adam_Newman on the old Twitter.
Yeah,
but Instagram, I feel like I'm most active right now.
Yeah,
there'll be a podcast which I don't. It's almost ready to talk about, but that's coming out real soon.
Yeah, I just heard you on our friend's podcast that typically tapes next door, Roommates for Life with MK
cool.
And Simon, recording on your new equipment. So it sounds good.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear that. And if you get a chance, go see Adam Newman live on the road. One of the funniest comics I know. Carter, where can people find you on the internet?
Twitter, Instagram. Twitter's Carter_Glascock, and then Instagram's Dr. Clark. And that's where you can find me.
And I just wanted to send a big shout out to everybody who has signed up for the Patreon. We launched Patreon earlier this week with a lost episode of the goods from 2017 that I never put out because it's weird and really contentious. But this week we're going to be watching the maybe the one and only times that Danny McBride just totally took a shit, and that's going to be the movie Your Highness. Is going to be coming up on the Patreon on Thursday.
I would say Arizona, but
I haven't seen that one either. We might have to do that next. But as promised on the Patreon, we did want to shout out the first people who signed up. And to do that, I'm going to turn it over to MTV Movie Award winner Ray Liotta. Ray, send a shout out to all the folks that signed up for our Patreon.
Thanks for the shout out there. I appreciate that. See, back then there was one show that was kind of encapsulated the entire Patreon. You had Eric and Paulo Nelson. Now these guys, they were right next to C. Fenley, S. Parks, Luke Andrew, Peter Vasey. These were all made guys. Nick Froppy, Mattman 94. We called him that because he would say Mattman 94 times every time you saw him. Oarfish Fever and Brian Henniger.
Have you cooked oarfish?
The way my mother used to make oarfish was you beat a fish to death with an oar, and then you sprinkle lemon pepper on top of it. It's a very disgusting dish, but it got us through the lean times. My father didn't make a lot of money.
Okay.
Anyways, I gotta go.
Thank you so much, Ray, and thank you guys so much for signing up. Patreon.com/thegoodspod. If you sign up, we'll get Ray, or maybe we'll get old Bam Margera in here to give you a shout out. Somebody like that. But yeah, thanks for signing up. We got good shit on the way. Going to be releasing a bonus episode every week, so sign up at Patreon.com/thegoodspod. $5 a month gets you a shout out on the show. We'll send you some stickers as soon as we get those going, and bonus episode every week. So thanks again. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rivers Langley. Find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Every episode ever, plus fun episode clips at youtube.com/thegoodspod. Buy a shirt, prowrestlingtees.com/thegoodspod. And of course, the best way to support the show besides the Patreon is to go to Apple Podcasts and rate, review, and subscribe. Leave a comment. All of that shows the attitude of gratitude. And if you don't have the attitude of gratitude, Daddy, fuck you. And we'll see you next week.
The Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.